Today on Joe's Geek Show, we're going to be looking at Future State Superman Worlds of War issue number 2. Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with art by Mikel Janin, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Dave Sharp. And this book continues with the girl from the first issue, Sadie, as she is followed by one of the other people from the Superman group who asks Sadie how Clark Kent saved her. Sadie gives him an article that Clark Kent wrote, and that if he wants to understand Superman and why he's coming back, then he needs to read it. And this article tells the story of a homeless man named Edgar Waters who had died and, although was alone in the end, had lived an extraordinary life, which, as it's being read, is juxtaposed with Superman's current ordeal on Warworld. And the issue continues in this back and forth format as Sadie and the boy are trying to reach the actual Kent farm while Superman battles for the life of others as well as his own. During the confrontation in the arena, Mongul ends up killing the alien Superman was trying to protect, and blasts him as well, demanding to know why he hasn't bloodied any of the fighters, with Superman responding that they weren't the target, as we see the broken chains from the other gladiators. In anger, Mongul picks up Superman's sword, and all we see next is a black panel splashed with blood. On Earth, Sadie and the boy reach the wreckage of the farm and poke around before discovering a storm cellar, which, after they pry it open, is revealed to hold the ship that brought Kal-El to Earth. Meanwhile, Superman on Warworld is shown to have been revived, as Mongul mentions how he's lost count of how many times he's killed and resurrected Superman in an attempt to forge him into the ultimate weapon, saying that once he's forgotten everything he loves and only lives for battle, he'll send him to Earth to kill everyone. Superman decrees that he will never forget and he won't ever stop until he's broken every chain on Warworld. Sometime later, Superman is thrown back into the arena and ends on the image of the alien spectators holding up their broken chains. And like the first story, I really enjoyed it. Because I gotta admit, I was a little bit worried because the thing with these Future State books is most of them were only getting 2 issues. And because of that, I was kind of worried that this book was going to be in a rush to try to wrap things up, that Superman was going to go ahead, do the battle arena, do the uprising, defeat Mongul, and get back to Earth all within the span of 22 pages. But instead, the story will be continuing in Future State Superman House of El issue number 1. And although I generally don't like it when stories do this, where it's, hey, you finish one story, now you gotta go pick up a whole new title, at least in this way, I'm not quite as mad since, the story gets to breathe, which is a good thing because there was a lot in this story to like. For one, we get the character Sadie, and we finally learn how Clark Kent saves her rather than Superman. And as it turns out, Clark Kent had written this article about a man named Edgar Waters, who is an African-American man who did a whole bunch of stuff with his life. From going to fight in World War II, to marching for civil rights, and starting a foundation to help kids go to college that was all done in the name of his own son. And that even though he died homeless, he has a story worth telling. And I really like that, especially how the story gets juxtaposed with Superman's own story in this book. Like, for instance, reading a panel about a man who was horribly wounded in battle while seeing Superman skewered, which creates what I'd call an emotional impact that just says, keep reading, keep reading. As well as the story of Edgar himself, who was essentially about a normal guy who put himself in harm's way on several different occasions to try to make the world a better place for everybody. And in a way, he also too is a Superman, because as this book states, as well as in the previous, that the powers don't make the man super, the actions do. And I especially really enjoyed the scene where Superman wakes up after Mongul had revived him to let us know that Superman has been killed and revived like countless times. Even Mongul doesn't know how many. And one of the things that I think the scene illustrates really well is that the term Man of Steel is not just indicative of Superman's bulletproof nature, but also his unbreakable spirit. But even though I'm talking it up, this book still wasn't perfect for me. Mainly due to the alternating environmental aspects of the book, as we constantly switch back and forth between Sadie on Earth and Superman on Warworld. And though I'll say that the article with Edgar did help bridge it together in a certain way, I think I much would rather have preferred to get one side of the story and then the other. For example, we get the entire sequence with Sadie all the way up to the time she finds the rocket ship, and then maybe it's at that point the boy asks her, wait, how did Clark Kent save you? She gives him the article, and then that segues into the sequence of Warworld, where we get that entire section of the story. Really did kind of leave me frustrated at times, because I'm like, okay, you know, I'm here, I'm on this planet with these characters, but after 1 to 2 pages, boom, okay, now we're back with the others. It was the main aspect that really took me out of the story from time to time. Also, when it came to the Sadie aspect of the story, I kind of sometimes felt like it went on a little too long, because the story is roughly 19 pages, and was really more interested in the Superman aspects of the story, because when we go back to Sadie in this book, her main thing is that she's telling another person about, you know, Clark Kent and Superman and how special and important he is. And really, I feel like this could have been done in just a couple of pages, which actually was one of the criticisms I forgot to touch back on in the first issue, where that story as a whole felt like it could have been slimmed down a little bit. When it comes to the art, I thought once again it was really good. I really enjoyed the look of Warworld with this, you know, overly saturated red-orange tone, almost 300 style in a way, which provided an excellent contrast to the more cool blue tones used in Sadie's story. So, is it a perfect story? No, not at all, but it's definitely one of the better Superman stories that I've read in a long time. And the best part about this book is I did not have to read one single line about Superman having revealed his identity. It's like it's a miracle. It's finally over. We can finally move on from it, hopefully. And I will also say, this story does give me faith in Philip Kennedy Johnson's ability to write a Superman story, as he will be transitioning to the main writer status after Future State. So with that, I'm going to give Future State Superman Worlds of War issue number 2 an 8 out of 10. So Future State Superman Worlds of War issue number 2. What did you think about this book if you've read it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And if you like this video, I'd love it if you'd smash that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.